Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Now, I've been having tons and tons of requests, I think literally like 50 at this point, to do a little bit of a tier list for the specialists in the current state of the game. So I thought I'd basically just dive in and do this. Basically my premise for this, the preamble as it were, in regards to how I'm going to do this, is that it's going to be mostly based around my thoughts about the balance of the game in terms of team play. Obviously, there are some specialists which are insanely good at certain things, but my kind of angle for my tier list, which is going to be a bit different from most people, is that it's going to be how they contribute to an overall game in terms of team play. It's not just, oh, can I get 100 kills with this specialist? They are the best, you know, on their own. It's also how they contribute to the team itself. And obviously, this has been highlighted recently by the fact that they've also introduced the on the scoreboard, they've introduced the class contribution, which is essentially where, you know, if you actually use your class how it's supposed to be used, like if you're a medic and you get loads of revives, you get a lot of class points, and they actually pump you up the leaderboards as well, I think more significantly than before. So you do actually get contribution points for essentially using certain specialists the way they're supposed to be used. So I'm basically just going to go through these specialists. We're going to talk about also, we have to consider the equipment that they have available now they're in their classes. This is also going to affect their ranking, because some classes do get access to really strong equipment compared to others. So we're basically going to dive in. I'm going to give you my thoughts about what I think about each of these specialists. I'm just going to go through them in order here. I might shuffle these around once I've actually put some in there, generally in their positions. I do think that this is going to be subject to change as well with the new update with Camilla coming in a few days as well. I'll do another tier list in a month or so once the classes have been probably reworked, rebalanced, etc. But this is going to be based on the current balance of the game, what I'm seeing, how the classes are performing in team combat, etc. So without any more preamble, let's get into it. So the first specialist is Angel. Now Angel's a bit of a weird one. Obviously I do think that basically specialists in the support class are all strong, to be honest. Like, I think all three of them are really good. I think Angel, he's definitely probably I would say personally, the weakest one out of the support roles. I do think that, you know, his loadout crate obviously very strong, so it allows people to change classes on the fly, basically recouping all of their ammo, etc. And he does supply ammo when he revives people as well, I believe. So he's definitely a good specialist overall. He's definitely better than quite a few of the other ones in the other classes, in my opinion. I think he's probably a solid B or A tier specialist. I'm going to stick him in the B tier for now, and we'll see how he shakes up once I've gone through a few of the other specialists. But obviously right now, it's pretty obvious that, you know, Angel is definitely in the support class. He's B. He's on the cusp of A tier, I would say. We'll see how many specialists end up above him or below him, and then we'll adjust him accordingly as time goes on. Okay, so we've got Boris next. I mean, it's just got to be done, hasn't it? I really, 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 really want Boris to be good. Like, I genuinely love the idea of his specialist having a turret that can, you know, actually engage enemies, do some damage. It attacks vehicles now as well. He's just not good, is he? I mean, he's probably, let's put him in the C tier for now, because he's not going to be as bad as Dozer. I think Dozer is probably the worst specialist in the game overall. In terms of team contribution as well, I mean, he sits there with his shield most of the time. He's not really doing that much for the team. But Boris, I mean, his turret, it's very situational, very, very situationally good. It's obviously had the buff recently where it can now target vehicles and give them a bit of grief. I've very occasionally got a kill with the turret killing infantry or vehicles. If you're set up in a good spot and you're defending, I do think that his turret can sometimes be valuable. And, you know, obviously we have to consider as well that being an engineer, he does get access to some good equipment. And his passive skill, making LMGs good, also is quite a significant thing and feature that we have to consider. I do think some of the LMGs using Boris when you're crouched and prone, they are literally like laser beams, and this does also come into play. But I think in terms of, as I said before, his team contribution, he really doesn't give the team that much at all. It's very rare that the turret gets a kill. It's very rare that it actually, you know, shoots a vehicle in the air or something, for example, for an extended period of time. the turret's very weak, and the fact that his entire class is based around it kind of tells you everything that you need to know, in my opinion. I do think that I desperately wish that he was good, honestly. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. I really, really wish that Boris was good, but he's just not good. And that's it, basically. So, moving on. Taking a quick look at Casper here, our next specialist. I'm going to stick him in the B tier. I think he's a very, very solid recon class. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. I think he's received a few tweaks which have nerfed him slightly. Obviously, his recon drone, in terms of contribution to the team, it's extremely, extremely high, isn't it? The recon drone itself. I do think this is a massive, massive bonus point for him in this regard. This is why I've stuck him in the B tier and probably not the C tier, because in my opinion, in this game at the very least, unless you are an absolute elite sniper, you're not really contributing that much to the team, in my opinion. I'd say Casper, he's probably solidly B tier. He might be getting in towards the A tier, depending on how much you value the. If he sits there and spots the whole game and doesn't shoot his sniper, he's probably contributing more like in terms of A tier bracket, in my opinion, because spotting the entire enemy team is very useful. Obviously, for teammates, extremely, extremely helpful. But most of the time, people are not doing this. They're usually sitting in their spawn, shooting the occasional person on the point. If you're on Conquest, you're probably, getting even less kills and not really contributing that much to the team. His other skill, obviously, being able to tell when you're being spotted and looked at, is obviously quite strong for the individual. But again, this is not adding that much to the team, in my opinion. So really, in terms of, as I said, my angle on this tier list, contribution to the team, if they're using the recon drone for the whole game, I'd say A tier, because the spotting is absolutely amazing, to be honest. But considering that most people don't do this, and they don't do it for the whole game, they might do it for periods of the game, I'd say he's solidly B tier at the minute. As a good specialist, I'd say he's a decent specialist all round. Recon drone's very useful. Obviously, individual play with being able to see when people are looking at you and spotting you is also very useful. And he does get access to the recon equipment, which can be very, very useful for team play as well, if you can soft lamp enemies, etc. But I would say, now that Rao has had such a crazy buff, being able to literally soft lamp anyone that he hacks, this is definitely nerfing Casper in that regard, in terms of equipment, access to equipment, and the bonuses that he would get. Obviously, he also gets the trait with his snipers, meaning that they don't sway, which is also quite nice, but again, not contributing that much to the team. So let's move on. We've got Dozer here. I do think Dozer is solidly in the D tier. I think most people would agree with this as well. People that say, anyone that's doing a tier list, really, Dozer's usually in the bottom of the bracket. And it is probably fair to say that this is the case. Obviously, he's in the assault class, so he does get access to more assault rifle ammo, which is quite nice, especially how good the assault rifles are in this game. But most of the time, you're probably going to be running around with the shield out. Fairly decent at attacking points, although people, find it quite easy to shoot you in the feet, or just shoot you in the side as you run past people, etc. The way that people tend to play this game is they'll just sit in corners and camp, and then as you run past, you're an easy kill, really, as Dozer, aren't you? With the shield out. Not contributing much to the team at all. Obviously, his passive trait being more resistant to explosives. I do think that this is quite useful, but again, not contributing much to the team at all. I don't really think there needs to be that much said about this. To be honest, most people would agree he's the worst in the game. Definitely needs a rework, in my opinion. Some kind of way to make him more viable and interesting, because he's just not that good, is he? And that is basically the T. So, moving on, we've got Falc. I mean, you have to put her in the S tier, in my opinion. It just has to be done. The sheer amount of contribution every single time that I play this class, and every single time that I play Falc specifically, it's unbelievable the amount of contribution that I get. I mean, even if I have a terrible game and I get like 10 kills and 25 deaths, I'll still be near the top of the board, because the revives, the fact you can revive in like half a second, and you can have an ammo crate, and you can heal people with the pistol, shooting them like 50 meters away, and the SMGs are good, much like with the draw time, etc. They do seem like they've got a little edge, the SMGs, when you're using Falc. It's just, when you've got a good gun as it, and you can get ammo back for smokes, you can get ammo back for grenades, You can just constantly throw a grenade, throw a box down, throw another grenade, throw 2 smokes, throw a box down, throw another smoke. You get access to good equipment, like obviously the worst, I'd say probably the worst equipment out of all of them, but you're just going to be using the ammo box, to be honest, aren't you? Why would you use anything else, to be honest? It's just, she's just absolutely amazing. Like, the sheer contribution that she makes to the team is absolutely astronomical, in my opinion. You're on a point and you're defending, people are going down, you're picking them back up, you're swinging the tide back on the flag for your team. You can throw smokes down, you can provide some cover fire, you can give people ammo back so they can throw more grenades, you can give yourself ammo back so you can throw grenades. Just the sheer contribution to the team push, the team defense, the fact that you can just pick people up so quickly and they're back to full health, and you can literally heal people across the point without even having to be near them, or having to, you know, throw a medical crate down next to them. She's absolutely insane. There's no one, in my opinion, that contributes more than Falc in terms of contributing to the team overall. She's absolutely insanely good, and that is my opinion. In terms of, you know, a solo specialist, people always pick her because, you know, she can literally heal herself constantly. She gets infinite Surette pistols, basically, because of ammo. You can give yourself ammo back. You're basically just a one-man army if you're a good shooter. Just running around with an SMG, killing everyone, healing yourself, giving yourself ammo back. You can stay alive basically the entire game if you're a good player. And if you're not playing solo and you're playing in the team, I mean, my God, giving people ammo, picking people up, healing people constantly, throwing shitloads of grenades, smokes, whatever. She's got everything. It's as simple as that. She's absolutely amazing. So I think she's probably the best specialist in the game, in my opinion, overall. In terms of the contribution to the team, absolutely insanely good. Incredible. Nothing else to say apart from that. So we've got Irish next. I think, in my opinion, and this is going to be a controversial one as well, because a lot of people think Irish isn't that good. He's going in the S tier, in my opinion. In terms of team contribution, we've got to always consider the team contribution. The trophy system on this game is absolutely essential. It just, the sheer grenade spam. Honestly, you play a game, dive into a game of Breakthrough for me right now, after this video, obviously. Make sure you watch to the end, thank you very much. Dive into a game of Breakthrough, look around. If there's no Irishes and you're defending, the grenade spam is going to be insane. If you play on Stranded, oh my God, that first point, you will get annihilated. Especially with the prevalence of Zayn's burst launcher. You have to consider the other classes as well, not just Irish on his own, but also the power of that burst launcher. Zayn's burst launcher is so strong. It is unbelievable how good that thing is on Breakthrough, on attacking, or even just defending. I mean, if you get a group of people, they're gone, aren't they? Anyone sitting on a rock for a second. And Irish's trophy system is so essential on this game. The sheer grenade spam that you will receive defending on Breakthrough. Honestly, if you've played Spearhead, that second point on Spearhead where it's B1 and it's just B1, the grenade spam is insane. And the burst launcher spam, and it also stops C5. This class, this specialist in this class, Irish, is so strong, in my opinion. I mean, his little shields are okay. Like, they're fine. They're quite good because also Irish just received the buff recently, meaning he can literally revive anyone as well. Jesus Christ, he is so good now. You can throw a shield down, revive someone, etc. But really, it's all about the trophy system for me. That thing is so strong on this game, with the sheer amount of explosives that get spammed. Like I said, the burst launcher, C5s, all the grenade spam that you received, you name it. You get such a huge class contribution playing as Irish just by throwing a few trophy systems down. If you're defending on Breakthrough, you're going to get a ton, an absolute ton of points just from blocking explosives. I've done it. I've literally blocked like 300-400 explosives in a game with playing as Irish on a long game of Breakthrough. It's insane. I mean, you have to consider the other applications as well. Like, if you've got a tank on your team that's camping, you throw a trophy system down, C5s don't work. The only thing you can really hit people with is rockets. Obviously, you've got javelins as well, but I mean, if Camilla comes out and blocks the javelins, I mean, it's going to be so... It's just going to make Irish even better, to be honest. And then we also have to consider, obviously, he gets access to so much good stuff. You obviously get ammo as well as a support class. So you've got infinite ammo. You can block grenades indefinitely. He's just a very, very strong specialist. You can pick anyone else up as well. That's actually a buff for him because before, obviously, he wasn't a medic, and now he is, so it's just made him even better in my opinion. I do think he really is a specialist that contributes a massive amount in this game to the team, and he's also quite good on his own, isn't he? He's got the SMG efficiency trait as well, so he's really good with SMGs. He's much more defensive than Falc. I wouldn't say he's on the same tier as Falc because Falc can obviously solo and team play like an absolute god. But I do think Irish is the king, the absolute king of defending on breakthrough. Just got so many tools, all the ammo. And I do think he's just really, really strong. He's definitely he's below Falc. I would say Falc, best specialist in the game. But I do think Irish, in terms of a team contribution, he's solidly 8. He's solidly 8. Absolutely 8 it. Probably S tier. I'm going to leave him in the S tier for now. We'll look at some of the other specialists and see what they're doing. So the next one's McKay. Obviously everyone thinks McKay is the best specialist in the game because everyone plays solo. My opinion on McKay is that he is very good at solo. But in terms of a team contribution, unless you're a really good player, it's very contingent on you being a good player. If you're not a good player, then McKay is really not contributing that much at all to the team. He's got a grappling hook and he's got better ADS movement speed. But if you're a bad player, then he's useless, isn't he? He's no good to the team at all. If you're a good player, he's amazing for the team. So, I mean, if you're thinking about this purely from a team perspective, I mean, he's B tier, isn't he? He's got to be. Because if you're bad, then he's useless. Whereas you could be bad with Casper and still contribute to the team massively with spotting people with the drone. You could be a bad sniper. I mean, with Angel, you could be terrible at shooting and still contribute to the team with ammo crates, loadout drops, picking people up. You can be terrible and still pick someone up by throwing smoke and reviving them, can't you? Whereas if you're bad at shooting, like McKay, he's not good, is he? It's as simple as that. This is a very controversial one. Obviously, everyone's going to say, no, McKay's S tier, you're wrong, you're an idiot. And I would say, fair enough. In solo play, if you're a good player, I don't think there's probably anyone better than McKay, to be honest. He's obviously amazing. He gives you such an advantage in firefights with his movement speed and the grappling hook, flanking people, etc. But in terms of a team contribution, if you're not good with him, he's useless. So, solidly in the B tier in my opinion, in terms of team play. We're going to move on now. We're going to look at Pike. Pike is a difficult one for me because I really like this specialist. I do want her to be good. And I do think in certain situations, she does contribute to the team a lot with her spotting. Like in Breakthrough, for example. You can spot so many people through walls, etc. And you can really go on a little rampage, to be honest, hunting people down. But again, like I said, that's kind of contingent on you being a good player. And depending on whether or not you're a good player is obviously a big, big variable in this game. And whether or not you contribute to the team based on whether or not you're good is kind of hard to decide. But in terms of a team contribution for Pike, she definitely offers quite a lot in my opinion in terms of spotting. It's hard to say, isn't it? It's difficult to say in my opinion. I would probably say she's definitely, I think she's in the B tier. I'd say she's in the B tier and she's probably top of the B tier in my opinion. I'd say in and around Angel. Let's say Angel's close to A tier, so I would say Pike, let's go B tier for now. The spotting system that she has is really, really good. Obviously, it's been nerfed recently. You are visible on the map when you're using it, which is a big, big letdown. Very, very, it's a very big nerf, isn't it? Let's be honest. But if you're on you're on breakthrough, you're on defense or on attack, you're on the point. You pop your scanner. You see everyone on the point. Your team see everyone on the point, and you clean the point out and you grab the point because of that. That's a big contribution, isn't it? And that is not skill based, really, is it? To be honest, you run into the point. Anyone can throw a smoke and run into a point, right? You pop the scanner. You see everyone on the point. Your team do as well, and it's a big contribution. And it doesn't take much skill, so it's not based on player acumen in the game, is it? It's just based on basically the proficiency of the specialist. And I do think that Pike is probably quite good, in my opinion, because of this. So I would say in terms of a team contribution, she's very strong. Individually, she's okay, right? She's okay. So we'll move on then. We'll look at Rao. Now, Rao, oh my god, he has received a buff recently, hasn't he? He used to be, in my opinion, okay. Quite good. Obviously, anyone that shoots him gets spotted, which is quite a nice little bonus. Because you're just spotting people all the time for free, basically. But his hack, oh my god, it soft lambs anyone that he hacks now. And if your team are good, like, these vehicles are getting shredded. He's got a free soft lamp built into his class, basically. Which is absolutely insane, isn't it? It has to be. I'm thinking about it now. I'm sat here. I'm sitting back in my chair and I'm going, this is insane. Like, it has to be. Just any single thing that he hacks, which takes like 2 seconds, is immediately soft lammed. If you've got like 5 people on your team with rockets and they go, oh look, soft lamb, shoot, it's dead. It has to be, doesn't it? Tanks, helicopters, little birds, anything that he hacks, dead. Obviously his hack's okay against infantry as well. Spotting people out is nice. But I mean, this is a huge buff, isn't it? And the contribution to your team, if your team's on point, it's massive. Recon, obviously, they're a bit... Recon's a difficult class because it's contingent on whether or not your team are also on it. But I would say, I think Rao, I mean, he has to be in the A tier for me. His hack is so strong now. Just the fact that you can just hack someone in 2 seconds and then within 5 seconds after that, the barrage of rockets that could occur if your team's on point is insane, isn't it? Like, that's a massive contribution to your team. He's okay as well all round. Like, he's got decent access to equipment. Recon's got decent equipment access. You can obviously still run C5 as well, so you could hack people, throw EMP grenades on a tank, run up to it, C5 it and kill it whilst it can't do anything. There's lots of applications. I do think it's strong, and considering how strong vehicles are in this current meta as well, in my opinion, I think that Rao is very useful. The fact that tanks sit at the back of the spawn with Irishes protecting them, etc. It's going to get worse with Camilla as well. I think like hacks are going to be very, very, very useful, and they're only going to get better in my opinion as time goes on. I definitely think that Rao is contributing a huge amount to the team. I'd probably say, you know, considering I think Angel, I should say, deserves an upgrade to A. Because I'm thinking about it now and I'm thinking, him and Rao, they both contribute fairly similar amounts. Support classes are so good in this game. I think Rao isn't as good as Angel in terms of a team contribution, to be honest. But he is still very strong if your team is on point. I'm going to give him a bump up. I'm going to bump Angel up to the A tier because I do think supports are they're cleanly the best contributors in the game overall, aren't they? In terms of what their class is and what they do. So moving on. We've got Sundance. I think Sundance solidly a middle of the road specialist as well. In terms of a team contribution, remember, obviously the wingsuit, absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best things in the game. Solo players flying around. You know, to be honest, she's probably better than McKay in terms of a team contribution, because you have to consider, right? She'll just fly down onto a tank and kill it. And that is a big contribution to the team, especially, like I said, considering the current vehicle meta. It's a massive contribution in my opinion. Flying around, killing vehicles, jump off something, fly over behind a point, you know, kill a few enemies, maybe disrupt the enemy. You've got obviously anti-vehicle grenades and anti-infantry grenades. She's obviously got access to extra assault rifle ammo as well. All very strong things, like with the, you know, it's just, I think she's solid. She's definitely solid in terms of a team contribution. She's better than McKay in my opinion in terms of helping the team. Because like I said, she's got access to anti-armor grenades and she can fly onto tanks and kill them. Things that McKay struggles to do. He can obviously grappling hook onto tanks, but they generally kill him because they'll pretty much always see him doing that. Whereas Sundance can kind of just ghost in out of nowhere, out of the sky, and blow them up before they even realise. Those anti-armor grenades that fly around and hit, you know, helicopters, tanks from far away, mavs, etc. are also very strong, useful for the team. So I think she's solidly B tier, to be honest, in terms of team play. Solo play, she's probably A tier. But team play, this is my team play tier list. I think she's probably B tier. Solid, useful, not useless, but not amazing. Okay, so we've got Rao. Now, not Rao, sorry. We've got Zayn. Oh my god, my brain's not working right now. I'm running out of specialist names. Zayn is probably I would say A tier. Now this is going to be controversial because it kind of sounds like I'm going against what I've just been talking about. But if you listen to what I'm saying, you'll understand. I've got one word for you, and it is burst launcher. 2 words. I've got 2 words for you. It's burst launcher. This thing is absolutely insane. When you're playing breakthrough, honestly, it is ridiculous how good this thing can be in situations that you find yourself in fairly often, to be honest. I'm looking at this A tier and I'm thinking Zayn is so good. Considering, okay, think about this, right? It's a skill issue, isn't it? McKay, best specialist in the game if you're good at the game. If you're amazing at the game, McKay is insane. I don't know why I'm rhyming like that, but I'm here for it. If you're good at the game, Sundance also probably A tier as well. If you're good at the game, Falc is still S tier. She's the best. If you're average at the game, you can still go like 30-0 with Zayn just using the burst launcher for the game. If you're attacking on breakthrough, if you're defending on breakthrough, the burst launcher is so strong. It's unbelievable, especially because people still don't really use Irish, which obviously completely nerfs the burst launcher. If everyone actually used Irish, like Zayn would be probably down here, to be honest. But the fact that his burst launcher is so strong, in my opinion. Think about team contribution. He's an assault class. Attacking a point, you burst launchering these people. You're hammering their position. They're in cover. And you're killing them around corners. You're literally freeing up the point to be captured for your team. You're putting them off. You're scaring them. You're potentially just getting hit markers on them, damaging them, maybe for other people to finish off. He's part of the assault class as well, so he does get a few tasty little pieces of equipment which only add to the fun, to be honest. You can throw smokes. The burst launcher has a thermal scope on it now, which in my opinion is not a nerf, it's a buff. Honestly, think about it. I mean, have you played Stranded recently on defense? And they're all just sat on the ridge behind a rock. You just keep shooting the rock. You get like 20 kills in about 3 minutes. It's just aim and fire. There's no skill. There's no skill issue here, is there? He's just so strong, and I think the contribution to the team is high because of that. The burst launcher, if he didn't have the burst launcher, I think he'd be way down. But the fact that he does, it's incredible. It's incredible in my opinion. I think he really does contribute a lot to the team because of this. And like I said, because there's no prevalence of Irish. If there was, then I think he would definitely be nerfed. But I mean, we have to also talk about Perseverance, don't we? Because holy shit, how good is Perseverance as a solo player? I mean, it makes him virtually S tier, to be honest. He's borderline A tier. I'm gonna put him up here. I've made the decision. The Perseverance as a solo player is insane. Like, obviously this is not team contribution, but I do think, like, think about it. You have an engagement, you win the fight, you get healed. You have another engagement, you win the fight, you get healed. The steamrolling, the potential for steamrolling is insane, isn't it? You don't ever need to heal. You don't need heals. And especially with the nerf of med pens for assault class, it definitely nerfs McKay. It nerfs Sundance massively as well. There's no more MLG, let me run in with 3 med pens and never die. It's literally, Zayn is the answer with Perseverance. He is the apex assault class, in my opinion. It's just, it has to be said. I do think that is the case. Okay, I'll stop rambling on now. Zayn's really good in my opinion. I think A tier is justified. Team contribution, the burst launcher, you can get so many kills on the point, freeing up the point for other people to attack. You're attacking it as well. I think he's really solid. Really useful for thinning out points. Really strong contribution to the team, in my opinion. We've got Crawford. I think he's in the C tier. I'd say he's better than Boris, though. So I'm going to put him there. He's top of the C tier. I do think Crawford, his turret, man. Oh, it's so bad, isn't it? It's just so bad. I really want to, just like Boris, I really want him to be good. I really want him to be useful, but he's just not good. His turret is just so bad. It's so inaccurate. People can still MLG, jump around corners and headshot you before you can even react. even if you're barraging them with minigun fire, they can jump into the line of fire and kill you before you can kill them, which is absolutely silly. I think the minigun needs a damage buff if they're going to keep it with its current profile of spread, because the spread is absolutely disgusting. It's so bad that it's very, very, very situational. Again, like Boris, useful if you're defending in a choke point and you've got a place where you can be covered by other people and you can just barrage a doorway for like half an hour, like on Stranded Defense, for example, inside the ship. Good. Probably really good, actually. But any other situation, useless. You just get flanked and shot in the side, or you can just get headshot by a sniper or shot in the head by the Scar with them 3000% headshot multiplier across the map, 360 no-scope you while you're on the turret. Obviously, it's got a health buff recently, but it's really not helped because the damage is still not good at all. Obviously, his ability to repair vehicles is strong, but you might as well just play as Liz, to be honest, because she can contribute way more to the team at the same time as repairing vehicles if they're camping, etc. So really, Crawford, I want to like him, but he ain't good. And it's as simple as that, in my opinion. Obviously, the LMG buff is strong as well. But I do think that Liz... I don't think Liz is the best specialist in the game. But I think she's probably very much up there. She's very much up there, in my opinion. She's solidly in the A tier. I'm not sure whereabouts she would go in the A tier here. But she's definitely in the A tier. Obviously, we have to talk about how good the guided missile is. It's very, very strong. Obviously, it's got a good team contribution because it is taking out vehicles. Vehicles are very strong in this meta. And simply put, in my opinion, they are probably a bit too strong, to be honest. Liz's guided missiles are very good at disrupting vehicles, annoying them, killing them, obviously. At the very least, forcing them away from the fight, which is a good contribution to the team because, honestly, the amount of hind spam that you get without a few Liz's on your team on breakthrough is disgusting. How many times have you died from hinds just flying over the point and just killing like 10 people with the grenade launchers? It's a lot. It is a lot. You have to accept that it's a lot. And Liz is really good. She's really good. She can repair stuff. She can shoot the missile. She can still get access to other stuff like C5. She can have smokes as well. She gets incendiary grenades. Her vehicle spotting has been nerfed in terms of range, but she's still strong in my opinion. The LMG proficiency in certain situations is absolutely busted in my opinion. If you've got the LCMG and you're lying down and you're spraying into a corridor or onto a point or onto an angle where the enemies are all hiding, holy shit, the LCMG doing that is insane, by the way. You should try it out. But the LMG proficiency is very, very strong. She's overall really good. Really, really good. So I think that's it, guys. I think I'm happy with that. This is obviously the angle of team contribution. Falc, she's a god. Dozer is absolutely shocking. D tier for Dozer. Poor guy needs a rework desperately. But that is it for today, guys. That is my thoughts on the classes in the current meta in terms of a team contribution focus on the tier list. I do think that these are fairly justified. Obviously, a lot of people are going to disagree, and that's completely fine. Let me know your thoughts down below if you disagree. I want to hear what you think, if I've made any mistakes. And I really, really appreciate you checking my videos out. As always, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're doing really well at the minute, heading towards 1,000 subs. So do please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Nightmare.